KILLA, the trash can wearing powerhouse of the interchange shopping mall. Ever since he released into the game, people have feared his heavily armed, aggressive self, so much so that he even chats a load of shit on Twitter. But I say no. He's a little pussycat really if you understand the traits of the scav boss and different tactics to fight him, and in this video I'll be doing just that. Hopefully after I finish you'll be making KILLA your bitch, and I'm making this video right now rather than when it was first released because of that brand new quest of killing him 100 times. That's a pain in the ass, but hopefully this video should make it a lot easier for you. First, let's talk about where to find KILLA, and what to expect in terms of gear when you do eventually find him. He doesn't spawn 100% of the time, so bear that in mind. In fact, his spawn rate is only 38%. However, when he does spawn, he could be found in the middle of the Ultra shopping mall, heavily focusing his patrol around Kibba, Addic and Mantis. But if he sees you, he can run all the way to the front of the Ultra mall past the National and around by Revis. When you do locate him, he'll be wearing his iconic Adidas styled Masker 1SCH helmet. That gives an armor class level 4 protection around his head, and more specifically the top of his head, the nape and his ears. But on top of that, you can guarantee that he has his Masker face shield down, which actually gives level 6 armor class protection around his face, eyes and jaws. In terms of body armor, he'll have a special 6B13M tanned body armor, which is made by ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, which allows KILLA to stay maneuverable while still protecting his stomach and thorax with armor class 5 protection. He'll also have a higher base health stat than normal scavs, 830 in total, which is almost double than what your actual PMC has at full health. He also has a few different weapons in his arsenal. The most prominent is the RPK-16 paired with 7M39 ammunition, and this is likely that he would have a 95 round magazine in the RPK when you come to fight him, but if he doesn't, he'll definitely have 60 round mags full to the brim with this ammo. If he doesn't have an RPK, then it's likely he will have a modded AKMS with T45 ammunition or a PP19 with Luger CCI in the mags. No matter what weapon you encounter with KILLA, his aggressiveness and fondness of grenades will be the issue that most struggle with. However, once you understand different strategies to take him on, it becomes a lot easier when you're going to complete the Stylish One quest, or you're just wanting to face him in general. So let's get on to that. How do you fight KILLA, and how do I usually succeed? First, weapon choice is key. You're going to want a weapon that's easily able to be controlled, a mixture between low recoil and high ergonomics, and there are plenty of weapon builds on my channel and on YouTube as a whole which will suffice for this. The more important thing is the ammo type that the weapon uses. You're going to want something that's easily able to penetrate class 4 or higher armor, and for that I recommend using the ammo chart made by No Food After Midnight. In this ammo chart you will see that there is a table next to each ammo type explaining its armor effectiveness. I go over this in a video of my own on ammo types that I made earlier in the wipe if you wanted to take a look at this. But in short, you're going to want to find ammo types that are green with either a 5 or 6 on the graph for class 4 armor at least. Wherever possible, I usually go for the ammo that is 4 or above on class 6 armor to be safe. That's if a couple of shots hit his face visor, it will eventually pen. Based on this information, I'm going to list some ammo types that I recommend using, as well as a weapon that you could use in correspondence to this. If you want to use 12 gauge ammo, then I recommend the Flechette ammunition for a Sega 12 with something like a drum mag, just so you can be sure you can tap quite quickly and get some shots down range. If 4.6 by 30mm is your type and you want an MP7, then you're going to have to go with APSX, but I recommend having a 40 round mag. If you're going with a VAL or a VSS, SP6, SPP or BP will be fine for your 9 by 39 ammunition. And take a few 30 round mags just to be safe rather than 20 rounds or 10 round mags. For 545 by 39mm ammunition, then you're going to either want to use BS or 7M39 ammo. That will penetrate his armor pretty well, but unless you're on single shot, you're going to want to kit out the AK to make it easier to control, unless you know the recoil spread of the base AK anyway. M995 is the only ammo that I would use for 5.56 NATO rounds. However, because of how expensive that is, if you need to, M855A1 will be an okay alternative. If you're using an SKS or a 7.62 by 39 AKM, then BP will be your go-to ammo to make sure that you can kill KILLA, but just be aware that you're going to need to control the weapon, so if you need to mod out an AKM, mod it out for low recoil and high ergonomics. M80, M62 or M61 will be a good choice for 7.62x51 ammo, and putting this in an M1A or better yet the new 308 MDR will give you the best bang for your buck without having to modify the weapon heavily. And finally, if you're going for 7.62x54 ammo, then you have the widest range of ammo to use, as all ammo types will penetrate class 4 armor perfectly fine. But if you want to be likely to one-tap this boy through the face visor, then SMB, 7BT1 or 7M37 ammo will be your go-to. If you add this into a budget Mosin with a scope on it, then you could be a budget killer. Your armor is also key, more importantly your body armor. You're going to want to take a few shots from his weapons, so something with class 5 armor protection on the body and then a helmet with something like a face shield maybe will be your best bet. I usually purchase some 6B13M tanned body armor, which is actually Killa's body armor off the flea market, or use some that I've got in my inventory, because it'll keep you speedy and maneuverable like it does with Killa, and if you need to change position, you can move there quite quickly. This armor is also extremely easy to repair based on its materials it's made with. Give it to proper, and even if it's zeroed, it'll only cost you like 50 grand to repair it, and it'll repair it to a really good repairability percentage without spending tons and tons of money like you do with Gen 4. Helmets, though, they are important, but they're almost secondary, because in terms of realism, if you get shot with 7M39 you're probably going to die anyway. However, I would say rock something like a ZSH with a face shield or something higher. Obviously you can rock an Altin or a Masker helmet yourself, but sometimes I don't think it's worth it based on the price to still get in Tarkov. If you're thinking, do you need grenades? No, don't bother. A lot of the time Killa activates his anti-air defenses and smells grenades coming his way, so a lot of the time he'll just use that time that you're throwing a grenade to push you with a barrage of bullets. Your best bet is to use the ammo types I mentioned and fight bullets with bullets. Positioning yourself in and out of cover is also vital for surviving against Killa. Personally, I find that when you're behind cover and he chooses to push you, you get a brief opportunity to put some bullets into him before he returns fire. This is because he's always sprinting around the map when giving chase to players, meaning he cannot shoot you while he's sprinting, and if you go into cover after he's aware of your presence, he will sprint to your location. When you hear sprinting coming towards you, then you're aware of your surroundings and you can peek towards the footsteps. While peeking, you have about 3 seconds to lay down some fire before getting back into cover and repositioning, because that's roughly the amount of time that he will see you stop sprinting and start firing. There's not a big time frame, but usually if you're using good ammo types and you are precise with your accuracy, you're able to kill him just like that. Ideally, you would like to get some hits on Killa before he even notices you, which means doing this at range. There are usually 2 spots that I go to get success, and the first being the stairs leading up from the front of the Ultra Mall. The second is behind the concrete ramp near Generic. First, if you're at the front of the mall, you are usually able to peek your head over the top of the staircase leading up and see Killa roaming near Mantis, and he will be heading your way because he will notice you. At this time you could use the metal barricades or the sandbags to cover you and start shooting. If he isn't down in 1 or 2 hits to the head and he starts charging towards you, while he's running towards you, you could use the same previous tactic and use the time it takes for him to stop sprinting and start shooting to finish him off. And if you use the ammo that I recommended earlier, you should have no problem with this. Behind the concrete ramp there is some tarp that has been put up as some sort of cover, which actually is cover from Killa's eyes. He will not be able to see you if you're sitting behind it. And it's too high for you to see over normally. However, there are some cardboard boxes up against the wall just behind the tarp, and with a few jumps you'll have no problem getting on top of it. Then you'll be able to see all the way down the hallway from Generic, leading to the locked MES room. For some reason Killa has an aneurysm if you try to engage him from up there, and doesn't really realise you're up there at all. So what you can do is if you see Killa patrolling halfway down that hallway, you can start shooting him. And sometimes his brain will be big and he'll actually start shooting back, but the majority of the time he won't. By the time he does actually start shooting back, hopefully you would have lowered his armor enough, or actually just almost finished him off. So a couple more hits should do it, which means you can finish him off before he actually gets shots on target to you and kills you. If you do get engaged from up there, then you can always drop down and rotate through Rasmussen and flank around to get another angle. Taking a friend is also another great way of taking him out. Using a friend to either use as bait or to shoot from a different angle is likely to confuse Killa, making it easy for you to hit him. Either weakening his armor or penetrating completely is good to deal damage. If you're a solo player, then it's a good idea to take it slow. Don't be afraid to wait until you hear KILLA engaging another target, which will either be a player scav or another PMC. And then you can intercept mid-fight. KILLA will be weak, and likelihood is that the player will be confused on why he's being shot and engaged from somewhere else. Usually when fighting KILLA, I would say avoid the upstairs of the shopping mall, as the glass is very unreliable to shoot through and KILLA is likely to see you before you see him. However, there is one way you can use this to your advantage. Quick peeks will usually be enough to aggravate KILLA, allowing him to charge to your position, which means he needs to come up the stairs. The stairs have very noticeable sound cues as they are metal, and metal is extremely loud when walked on. And then what you could do is take cover in one of the stores. Personally, I used the Subway store and the clothing store opposite. As soon as you see his head come to the top of the stairs, start firing. Just be accurate with your shots though, because you're going to be doing loop-de-loops otherwise, getting away from KILLA and trying to flank him. A quick thing to note when engaging him, depending on the ammo that you're using, remember that if you're aiming for the head, you're more likely to one-tap him if he's facing away from you, as his helmet is level 4 like I mentioned earlier, and if he's facing towards you, then you're going to need to put up with his level 6 face shield. Honestly, will you win every firefight with KILLA? No, of course not. Netcode and lag can always hinder your performance, and yes, he is a challenge if you don't have the right ammo types and armor to face him head to head. But using these strategies, I have certainly come out on top the majority of the time I fight him, especially when sometimes KILLA can just stand there not even realizing he's being shot at. Hopefully this video helps you, and if it did, then please help me out by getting my subscriber rate up and hitting that subscribe button. It honestly means the world to me, and you guys have been amazing, supportive and everything throughout my YouTube journey, and hopefully we can see that continue. And hopefully after this video I'll see you guys cosplaying more as KILLA after you get your KILLA jacket complete in that quest. And if you do have any questions, hit me up in the comments or join the Discord. Also check out my social media in the description because I post special stuff there just for you too. I love you so much. Don't tell the missus, and sweet dreams, sweetheart. You're gorgeous. Kisses, 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 kisses. I'd like to thank you all for staying to the end of this video, but before I end it, I'd like to tell you something about Shadow. Shadow is a company that I'm working with to promote max gaming PC settings anywhere you are. Shadow is a cloud-based subscription service which allows you to subscribe $30 a month and you can play any games, max settings anywhere you are, which means you can have a broken up PC, a shitty laptop or a Mac, and you can still play games like Tarkov in max settings, 1440p, 60 FPS, and this is actually how I record all my gameplay and stream Tarkov at this point in time. So if you liked how the game looked in this video, then check out the description and it'll take you to Shadow's website. You can do more research there, and if you do decide to sign up, you'll get $10 off your first month. Thank you so much everyone. Toodle pip, cheerio, enjoy your evening.